I'm sure you can relate to this, about just speaking your truth and showing other people that there's not one way to happiness and there's no right way. And so there's no traditional way of you should be doing this if you're making X amount, or you should have this mansion, or, you live however you want to live and be your most authentic self.
It's time to stop spinning your wheels, wasting time, money, and energy building your brand alone on social media. Hi, I'm Sophia Spallino, the host of Social Equity, the podcast, here to help you build your own profitable personal brand, the social equity you can rely on to make the money that you deserve. Are you ready, Miss Future Millionaire? Let's get into it. From $12,000 in an entire year. That's it. $12,000 in an entire year. That's like $1K a month. To scaling to a 7-figure movement. How did HeyAnnaRogers do it? How did she go from $12,000 in an entire year to scaling a 7-figure movement? Anna has been traveling the world for the last 10 years, building and scaling online businesses. Together with her husband, they run a brand called Lifestyle Rich, focused on helping coaches and consultants create money and movements. It's really, really powerful to live a life of freedom. Anyone can have a business, but to truly have a business of freedom, which is something I know all about because I'm about to go to Europe and live my best life because I have a business of freedom. This is the thing that you want to be creating, not just any old business. And Anna knows how to do it. I'm excited to have her on and share her knowledge with you and just her joy, honestly, and her freedom. If you're ready to build an authentic brand, show up as you, and create content that converts, and you know how to build a business of freedom, grab a cup of tea and join us. Anna, go ahead and submit your request to come on the show. I see you're here. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know, we go live. If you ever want to join us for a live version of Social Equity, join me on Instagram, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesdays. Hi. So wonderful to see you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Okay, first of all, just tell everyone, where in the world are you?
We are currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. So as you gave in your lovely intro, my husband and I have been nomadic for the last 10 years. So every couple of months we move around. And so this time we decided to make Mexico our base for the next couple of months.
I love that for you. And for me, I know I'm about to be able to do this if I want. I can't decide if it's going to be like nourishing for me to move around or if I need to like be grounded in one space. But this is the first time I just take off.
I love it. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. Okay, so you've done this for forever. When you first met him, were you in this space or was it something you guys built together? Tell me your story.
No, so I'm originally from the Philippines, and I had saved up for 6 years because I wanted nothing more than to travel the world. And so I worked 2 different jobs. I was like hustling my ass off because wages in the Philippines are so much lower than anywhere else. So for me to come up with the money to be able to travel, I needed to bust my ass off. So I worked for 6 years, went on this life-changing adventure around the world. And then in the tail end of that trip, I met my now husband. So at the same time, he was then just backpacking around.
Don't tell me this. It gives me way too much hope.
And so we met, and then he was just like, kind of started dating, had this travel fling that we didn't know would go anywhere. And so he was just like, at one point, he was just like, keep traveling the world with me. I was like, I'd love to, but I'm flat out broke. I was just like, I need to make money online. And so I literally went on Google and typed in how to make money while traveling. And then we decided to start an online business within months of dating each other. And we've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you taught yourself everything you know?
Yes.
I love it. And did you start with what was your original online business?
So our original online business was a travel website. So we were like moving around, writing. We taught each other. We were essentially selling our expertise online because we were, talking about travel. We've been traveling for a couple of years at that point, and so we were just writing about it. And so we did that. And then a couple years into doing that, we built our second company, which was showing people how to monetize their travel website. So it was an online course, which we then scaled to seven figures while we were still traveling around. And so until this day, we both own one suitcase each and a backpack, and that's everything that we own. It's so crazy.
So my real question is, where's all the money?
In investments in banks, but it's just, yeah, like a lot of people are like, wait, what do you mean? So you guys make seven figures, but you don't have any things? Like everything fits in a suitcase? We're like, yeah, pretty much.
That is so incredible and so rare to hear. My money's in my closet and of course in investments. I'm smart, but that is brilliant. That is wild and rare to hear and so authentic and different.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I'm so passionate about, I'm sure you can relate to this, about just speaking your truth and showing other people that there's not one way to happiness and there's no right way. And so there's no traditional way of you should be doing this if you're making X amount, or you should have this mansion, or, you live however you want to live and be your most authentic self. And for us, we love traveling. We love having all these new incredible experiences, and being able to run our businesses while doing this is something that's super important to us.
Yeah. So what does that look like now that you're at this level? Does that mean like a lot more work? Because people would normally think, okay, you're making so much money, seven figures, what, at least 1 million a year. What are you, like, how much are you having to work? Well,
So it's changed. So like obviously we scaled the online course, and then what we realized was what we were most passionate about is actually having the one-on-one interaction with our
yeah,
clients.
I love it
And
too.
that's what we were like missing. We were like, selling all these online courses, but then we weren't having these like interactions, which is how we decided to create our third company, which is called Lifestyle Rich. And that's essentially like group coaching programs where initially it was showing people how to sell high ticket offers. Now we're showing people how to scale with ease. We're focusing on female coaches on Instagram and
Yeah.
helping them add automations and funnels. Because like you said in your intro video, we realized so many incredible women are running their businesses, amazing in social media, but they're missing the mark on automating simple things, which means they're
Yes.
hustling extra hard. Like we
Yes.
always say, what's a faster way to complete a marathon? Is it by running or getting on a bicycle? We're like, obviously on a bicycle, but then most people just keep upgrading their mindsets, their skill sets, but they're not upgrading, leveraging simple tools to help them run their businesses faster.
Yeah. And I love this because I always talk about how if you want to even survive, but thrive after AI really does take over, you need to have a personal brand to stand out. But what you're doing now is actually going, no, 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 we're going to take advantage of every automation possible to make sure that we're winning and we're not being left behind. So not only do we have a personal brand, but we are leveraging automations and AI, which is really going to be the only way to make it going forward. And right now, if you're in it, you're going to blow up. If you already are working on that personal brand, you're already working on those automations. I love
Yeah,
this.
because like so many women are amazing on social media, and you're right, 100%. We need to be building our personal brands, but that doesn't mean that when you say funnels and automations, it doesn't mean that it's impersonal. It's literally simple tools to help
Yes.
run your business
Yes.
smarter, so that you're not there hustling behind your computers or stuck glued to your phone all day. Because
Yes.
what we realized, having grown multiple businesses in different niches, is that we all started, entrepreneurs all start our business for freedom. We're all
Yes.
just like, I want to do this so I have more time to do this. And then we all end up hiding behind our computers all day long. And I'm just like, what happened? Where did we lose it? And so this is
Yes.
something that we're so passionate about helping other people do.
I love that. And it makes so much sense. I posted a story earlier to share about this live with you. And this last week, I was listening to one of my favorite manifestation coaches ever. One of the most famous ones. Everyone knows her, but we won't call her out because she didn't do anything
Yeah,
wrong. But she was sharing how she took 2 weeks off and like how that was a rare thing for her, which I get it. As an entrepreneur, I don't take extended time off. I check in every day,
hmm,
at least for 2 hours, but then like I can do whatever I want with the rest of my day. But for her, it seemed like this was like shocking for her to be able to take 2 weeks off. And she's someone we know to be making millions and millions. And it was kind of heartbreaking because it's like we look at her and we go, she has it all, the husband, the babies. And she was saying how she can't even take her toddler outside to like pick a lemon off the tree in the family mansion in Beverly Hills because she's normally too busy for that. And
that's
I was
great.
like, wait, if this is what it's all about, I don't want it. I'd rather go back to making less than $100,000 a year if that's the trade off, because we only get so much time.
No,
So
that's crazy.
freedom is everything, and the ability to adventure is everything. So I'm so glad that I figured it out. I'm so glad that you're helping other people figure it out with automations. It's magical. Okay, what is the first step? Like if your ideal client was to come to you from this live, where would she be at?
A lot of our ideal clients, they're already making money on Instagram, and it's literally just inserting or leveraging the simple tools so that they can automate simple things. Like a lot of coaches, we feel like are still manually sending invoices, manually sending contracts, following up, like everything, even collecting testimonials, collecting leads, all of those things can be automated. And so you need a way to be able to nurture your audience so that you're warming them up even when you're not on your phone. And then also at the same time, you need a way to be able to sell, regardless if you're on Instagram Live. Like a lot, we notice that people only make money when they're going on live or when they're posting the link on their Instagram. Like you need to build the back end of your ecosystem in order to be able to do that like
Yeah.
clockwork automatically, really.
Yeah. That's one thing I teach in my program too. It's like, okay, we've got business foundations and then offer formulation, content creation, and then client attraction, like having those things in place in business systems and anything that, like you said, having contracts go out automatically, so important because even if you're doing it manually and for you, you're like, okay, I'll just do this for now. Okay, one, you're giving up your time, but two, what if something falls through the cracks and you need that contract that's signed? It's so important.
Yeah, I'm actually reading a great book right now, which is all about buying back your time. And the entire premise of the book is if you reach a certain level in your business, you should be investing your money to buy back more of your time so that you can focus on things that actually make you money in your business or things that you actually enjoy and bring you fulfillment. And so I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people get lost in the weeds of, oh yeah, I'm just going to do this because it's a lot faster, or let me just do this because of XYZ. But in reality, that's a wrong logic, because for you to actually grow and scale, you need to be freeing up your time so you can stay in your actual zone of
Yeah,
genius. Like your zone of genius is like content,
it is.
relating to people, personal branding. And if you were lost in the nitty gritty of, oh, I have to send this podcast reminder or this thing or this contract, like it doesn't bring you
It
joy. It doesn't help you grow
doesn't.
as a business. Yeah.
No, and that's why I have the systems in place, like what you teach, it's so important. And I have support, like I hire
Yes.
support. It's so important to buy back your time. I love that. I love that. So in your program, do you show people like the, because hiring as a business owner, if you don't understand how to really position your values and to interview
Mhm.
people well, you'll go in circles wasting time hiring, because hiring is a time investment. Is that something that you cover, or is it more like systems and AI specifically?
So a lot of ours is like mostly automated. So we come in, we help people put in the systems in place in their
Oh,
businesses, input the tools. Here are the automations that you need, and everything is like plug and play. Because absolutely, you're right. Hiring is a big time consuming. It's a big commitment because you want to be able to vibe with the people that you're hiring. And so we're all about leveraging simple tools to
yeah.
help you do all of this. So everything is automated, everything runs like clockwork, and you kind of just input your magic and write your emails and that kind of thing.
Do you show them how, does the course show them how to do it themselves, or is there a done for you component? How does that work?
It's more of a done for you component actually, because it's like, so my husband and I work together and he's like the tech genius and I'm just like, I want this, and he's just like, all right, we can build that. And so
I love it. Okay, so here's the thing. When my clients are making more money, I'm going to send them over to you to set up those automations. I love it.
absolutely.
It's so important. Once you get to a certain level, you just can't afford not to have those.
Yeah, and I think that's also actually a really great misconception, because a lot of people think that their business needs to be in a certain level in order to start adding funnels and automations. But actually, any business will benefit from it because it frees up a lot of your time. And so once you're not in the nitty gritty of doing all the manual things, then you have more time, like I said, to actually grow your business. And so a lot of our clients are like, they want to be able to scale with ease, and they know that you can't scale a leaky bucket, like what we say. You're going to be working really hard trying to scale this leaky bucket, but in reality, you kind of need to put your systems in place so that when you do start scaling, things are easier.
Yeah, you won't have time to do the income producing activities or for things that are your zone of genius. So. Yes, that makes total sense. Okay, what is the first automation or the most important thing for anyone listening who they're like, okay, I know what I need to do? What would be the first one to start with?
I would
What is the most
definitely say you need to be building your email list. As basic as that is, you need to be building a moat around your business. And what do I mean by this? Like, the Instagram algorithm can change at any time. And, remember Facebook groups. Facebook groups were hot shit last time, that people were like, oh my God, this is so thing. But now the reach of Facebook groups has dropped them dramatically. And so it's really important that you build an ecosystem. So have a automated lead capture where you're already attracting the attention of people. You need a way to capture their email list, and then behind the scenes indoctrinate them on your brand, indoctrinate them on who you are, what your values are, and share more about you, because like most people need an average of 8 touch points in order to buy from you. And so if you're only just on Instagram and they just keep seeing you there, you're missing out on so many other ways to nurture them and to really connect with a person. Like I always tell our clients, people will buy from you when you establish a connection, when you build a relationship. And a lot of these, touch points can be automated. So I would say start from there. It's the easiest way to build, kind of like get people in your ecosystem and get more eyeballs.
Yeah. And then once you have things built out, you can have sequences for offers. And I love waking up to know that I sold in my sleep because my emails are selling for me, which is the best feeling ever.
Exactly. And coming from the Philippines, I traded so much time for money for years. I was a teacher prior to getting into the online world, and I would only make money if I hustled my butt off. And even when I hustled my butt off, I was making $1,000 every month. Wow. And that was insane. And so for me now, just having that time freedom of waking up and I'm like, oh, I sold a couple of offers, and that's an incredible feeling. And that's how we can step away from our business once in a while and not be glued to it, or not have anxiety that our business is not making money when we're offline enjoying life.
I love that. I love that. And for everyone listening who's at different places in their business or has different offers, you could sell low ticket offers in your emails, but you can also get people to book calls with you for high ticket offers in your email.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's no limit to what you can do. And I want to speak to what you said about the moat, because I always tell people we are building our entire livelihoods on rented land. Mm-hmm. We're not guaranteed these platforms. And it was a lot of work to build it, whether you have 20,000 followers, 2,000 followers, or 200,000 followers. So the smartest thing to do is always be funneling people over to your email list.
Yes. I mean, in our first business, so it was a travel website, and we were getting around 500,000 page views every month to our website. And then COVID happened, and then just 90% of that views just dropped overnight. Wow. And you're just like, oh, wow, if I wasn't building an email list, or if I wasn't doing any of that, I would be freaking out right now. But it's just you really need to be mindful of that. And so I'm so happy that's something that you share with your clients, your students, and that's something that you really put emphasis
Oh
on.
yeah. That and omnipresent marketing. So not just being on Instagram, but also being on TikTok and using automations to make sure that it goes out to all those platforms. Because if you're building on rented land and one of those platforms goes away, like TikTok, there's a ban that's looming, which is so scary because I'm like, free speech. We live in America, or I mean, wherever you live in the world, like free speech, it's so important, and TikTok gives us that. So it's really, really scary, but we need to make sure that we're in other places. And for anyone listening who is worried about that, who does have TikTok as a primary, I recommend not only what you're saying about email lists, but really start building yourself up on other platforms like Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, I
Because
think that's great advice. And like, just don't put all your eggs in one basket and be mindful that,
yes.
you know, any of these apps could be shut down. The algorithm can change overnight. And so you really need to make sure that you're building a brand that people will follow. You have this brand equity that
Yes.
you're working on.
Yes, I'm so glad you get it. So many people, it's like, they're like, why is your podcast called Social Equity? And I'm like, yeah, I feel like you're the first person who actually got it. I'm like, maybe my name was too smart. Like,
I got it. I got you.
I love it. Yeah. The personal brand is something no one can take for you, but that is so much bigger than having a few thousand followers on Instagram. It's having those systems in place and having a real business. And people play pretend business every day. And look, I did it for years and I always made less than $5,000 a month. And then I built a real business and I created a scalable offer and put those automations in place, and real shit happens. And like what you're doing in your life right now, I'm not making millions a year yet, but I know that I will, because what I'm creating is sustainable and scalable. And so I love that you're showing people the importance of scalability, because I was always like, oh, if I could just make $10,000 a month, whoop de doo. And it's like, baby, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I think, yeah, and it's not just that, it's also with, growing a personal brand, it also increases the impact that you have. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about the number following on a screen, it's about
No,
making connections with people and really being able to build a relationship where you're just like, wow, yeah, I can say something that can impact someone and change their perspective on how they're thinking about things. Like for me, that was massive because coming from the Philippines, you're expected to go to school, graduate, get married, have kids. And
yeah,
then I'm just like, well, I want to travel the world. I don't really want to have children and this and that. And so there were so many things that I chose to live out of the conformity of what was normal.
I love
And
that.
I feel like having that platform to share that and saying, yeah, it's okay. It's your life. You choose what you want to do.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, I want to get more into your story, because what you're saying seems kind of similar, even though we have completely different experiences. I grew up in southern Louisiana and couldn't be myself, didn't get to figure out that I was completely gay until I was 29 years
That's
old, and was taught to just get married and have a baby and never really work hard because your husband needs to make all the money, right? Like, so crazy. I see one of my clients here, Coach Reed. Love all this. So good. Thank you, Coach Reed. But yeah, can you tell me your story? So like what was your family's reaction when you just took off?
so I'm like very, very blessed that I have a really supportive family. So initially I was just like I think I was around 24 or 25 when I was just like called my parents and I was like, I'm going traveling for a year. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I've been saving up for 6 years and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go backpacking around Europe and then go around to the US and then to Asia. And then they were just like, with what money? I was like, oh, I've been saving up, like really saving up. I was like, all those jobs that I've been working at. And so they were like, okay, like you've saved up the money. So they were super supportive. Of course, like my father was just like, call me every day, make sure you're safe and this and that. And so I did that for a year and they were expecting me to like get it out of my system and just
Yeah.
go back to living a normal life. And then I came back to the Philippines. I was like, I want to see, I got a taste of freedom. I need more of this in my life. And so when my then boyfriend or my then travel flame was just like, yeah, keep traveling the world with me, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And kind of just said that to my parents, and they're like, what do you mean you're gonna keep traveling? At that time, I had $2,000 left to my name,
Wow.
and I was just like, I'm just gonna go. I was just like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna work online and make it happen. And a part of it is me being naive, and we were young and in love, and we're like, yeah, we can do it. And but it all worked out. And so,
I love this.
taking risks and following your truth, and like I knew that there was part of me that was just meant for more. I knew that I
Yeah.
wanted to see the world, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me, even though I was down to my last penny and we knew nothing about the online world. Literally everything we know has been from 10 years of experience, of teaching, of joining masterminds, and really just skilling up over the last couple of
I
years.
love that. I love that you actually did something too before you decided to coach, that you were really in it. I see that often where people never had a business before they like coach a business and are like, what are you doing? So I love that credibility, and I think it's so brave. $2,000. The lowest I ever got was $10,000 in my bank account, and I thought I was going to die. Like I was like, but if you could do all this with $2,000 left, and you could create from that place, and you could find stability within in that place to make it happen and really believe in yourself, anyone can. And I love hearing examples of someone who's done something really hard, because I don't think people were brave enough to say, hey, it was really this bad for me or this scary for me at one point. And someone's going to hear this and be like, oh my God, like I know that I can get through this because Anna did. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I think, one of the things in business nowadays in social media, we see the tip of the iceberg. We see super successful people who are saying, I'm making 100K months, I'm making this. But what we don't see is the years of studying, the years
Yes.
of what am I doing, the years of is this the right path for me, and figuring it out. And so, over the last 10 years, we've built 3 different businesses in 3 different niches, and so much investment has come into us. And so when people are like, oh, what's your secret to success, I'm always just like 10 years of like figuring out what to do. So our
Yeah.
success story, I always say our success story is 10 years in the making. And I
Yeah.
want other people to know that it's not an easy sensation to just become this big, big person or this big brand. You have to be really put in effort into
Yeah.
it.
There's no
And
magic pill. Like there's
no,
no quick course, get rich quick. That's all bullshit.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
feel like in social media, everyone's just like, yeah, just take this course or do this. Yes, obviously you'll find success faster than some, but it doesn't mean that you still don't have to put in the effort, because
Yes.
I always believe that in order to build a heart-led brand, you need to put in your soul. People need to connect with you on a deeper level. And that's what's going to make you
100%.
stand out.
100%. Stand out and connect with you. It's social media. We've got to be social, and people forget that. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm curious. After coming from this mindset of $12,000 a year to being who you are today, multimillionaire, like what did you have to change about your identity to get there? Because I know it couldn't have been like an overnight shift, like we just said, just like with the money or the success. What had to change up here and in here for you to get there?
Like everything.
Yes.
What didn't change? I'm just like, no, I had to heal a lot of money beliefs,
Yeah.
because for the longest time I was operating from a place of scarcity. And even though, we've been comfortable for the last couple of years, there's always been that, oh, but what if this and what if that? And so just really working through a lot of money beliefs, and
Yes.
also knowing that you're never going to be like finished. You're always going to be a work in progress. And so being open-minded enough to, I always want to make sure I'm in higher level mentorship. I always want to make sure that I have people in my corner who are supporting me, who when I do wobble, they can call me out of my stuff. And, just being open to that, and knowing that, if you enjoy enjoy this, which you have to enjoy the game, right?
Yes,
As an
it's
entrepreneur.
a game.
Yeah, it is. And so you have to enjoy the game and be willing to go, all right, let's make this easy. You know, my husband and I always joke, like when we're going through hard things, we're like, all right, how easy can this be? You know, you psych yourself up and be like, everything is a mental
It
thing.
is.
Like you can go through the most difficult periods, but if your mental state is like, all right, let's get through this. It's a game. Let's make it easy, this and that. And everything changes.
It does. And one of the things that I do when I feel, and I don't know what your beliefs are, but I totally believe in God. So when something feels like I don't really know the next right step, it's mentorship. But even before mentorship, it's like, okay, God, give me the solution, because I believe that I can get that download that comes from a divine place that I wouldn't have thought of on my own in my own strength. And sometimes it really is easy, like you said. Like, how easy can it be? Let's just let's just see, ask and see what God can do.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, when I say easy, it doesn't mean that there's that, you know, that literally it's going to be easy. But if you psych yourself up, because what you focus on, you'll get. And so if you're already thinking of, man, this is going to be really hard, guess what? It's going to be really hard. And so this is why whenever we're speaking to our clients, we're like, yeah, let's scale with ease. Let's make this fun. Business should be fun again. And so whenever we're talking about this, I mean, like, let's go. And so when you set your mind and you get yourself excited in that way, everything becomes easier in that
Yes,
sense.
yes. And I always say entrepreneurship is not easy, but what I teach can make it easier for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. Like none of this easy, but this is going to make it a billion times easier. This will cut your time in half, a lot easier. So,
Yeah, and you know, entrepreneurship, like we're the 1% crazy. We're the ones who are willing to risk it and
yes.
just go, what if this doesn't work? And but there's also the flip side of what if it
What
does.
if
And
it
so that's
does?
the fun part. And you know, everyone who gets into this, if you only have that connotation that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make, you know, be super rich in an instant, it's not gonna work.
No.
But you have to be willing to think outside the box. You have to be willing to try things. You have to be willing to go, oh, let me try this. And even if you fall flat on your face spectacularly, pick yourself back up again and try something else.
Amen. Every dang day. Every day. Okay. I love the pep talk. I love thinking about what content we create that's really going to connect with people. Like you were saying, the connection is everything. And oftentimes, that connection we make on social media, that's the first point that people get to know us. And then they get thrown into those automations, right? The systems in place. So I know you love talking about authentic content. What is that to you?
I think to me, like I spoke earlier, like there's no one way to live your life. Like we're so unconventional in our life that there's no one way to live it. And so just being unapologetically you and be willing to share that with others. I think because we think that you have to have this perfectly curated life, that's the only things that you share on social media. Well, you know, you need to be able to share with your audience the highs and the lows. Like we always talk about, you know, business is hard, business can be difficult, but if you have this, then it's a lot easier. If you have the right mindset, then it's a lot easier. If you have the right people behind your corner, it's a lot easier. And so just be willing to really be vulnerable. And I'm not saying like your audience needs to know every single part of your life. It's
No.
actually not that. It's sharing what feels good to you and also sharing parts of you that are vulnerable that can change someone's perspective. Like we, you know, we often share different things about how we've built our freedom business, and a lot of people can relate to that. They're like, yeah, you know, I got lost somewhere along the way. I've built my business, but I'm exhausted and I'm
Yeah.
close to burnout. And
Yeah.
so these are the different things that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about. Sometimes we'll see coaches just disappear online and then they come back 3 weeks later and it's like, I had just this crazy burnout. And, you know, we can avoid that by talking about it before people get to that stage. We can
Yeah.
avoid that by making sure that rest isn't just awarded to us when we work hard. Like we're past the hustling and grinding stages now,
Yeah.
and we need to build sustainable businesses that can scale.
Yeah. And it's like there's always going to be this balance. And it's like when you're first getting started, I'm not going to sit there and coach you that you need to rest more because I'm not going to bullshit you. But once you get to a certain place and you've got those automations set up, if you do not rest and you're constantly just launching new offers 24/7, there will be a day. There will be a day where you do hit burnout. And building my two businesses at the same time, which I did about 2 years ago, was not healthy. Building two at the same time, not healthy at all. And I was implementing automations for both at the same time. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So I did hit a point where my body wasn't healthy, where I got diagnosed with lupus. The burnout was real. And then I started taking more time for myself, hired concierge nutritionist Stephanie Mercurio, who's amazing, transformed my life, started eating meat again and like just taking all these supplements, and I feel so much better. But now it's like balance is so important. And I got caught up in the hustle culture. I will admit it. I did. And now it's like I don't want it if it's not peaceful and profitable at the same time. That's one of my taglines I say all the time. If it's not peaceful and profitable, we just don't want it.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, that's the thing. Like, hustle culture is celebrated, right? Especially
Yeah.
with all the bro marketers. So you're like, oh, if you're starting up, you should be sleeping 4 hours a day and this and that. And it's so glorified. But actually what you should be proud of is taking time and listening to your body. It's being willing to put in the hard work, but
Yes.
also taking a step back and go, is there a smarter way of doing things?
Yes. Work
And
smarter.
yeah, and so when you do that, when you take a step back and go, oh, hold on, I'm actually making things harder for myself by not implementing these simple things.
Yes.
And so by not doing that, you're missing the mark of, our entire movement is around creating money and moments.
Mhm.
And what's the use of all this money if you're not actually taking the time to enjoy life? And so, I've been following you on Instagram and I see you go to Mexico and you go on all these trips, and it's amazing because people need to see that you're not just someone who's creating wealth, you're also someone who's living
Yeah.
their life.
Creating a real life. And it's something that I want to do even more of. I'm very, very committed. This morning, I gave a team member a bonus and I said, we're not going to launch that next offer until maybe July because I'm going to live my life.
I love it.
It was so great. And she's just like, wasn't expecting that. Thanks. And I was like, yeah, keep selling the current offer. Have a great day.
Amazing. And that's why we build our businesses, right? We build our businesses so that we can enjoy. We
Yes.
we want to make an impact, but at the same time, we also need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and we're enjoying life. And like I always say that the magic comes from living your life. As entrepreneurs, when you actually take the time to live your life, you come back inspired. You come back with so many ideas to execute because you're not cooped up in your office, slaving away. And
Yes.
so all our best ideas come from living, come from traveling and doing all those things.
Yes. And I do feel inspired sometimes at my desk. So I shoot a lot of content here because that's where I'm like, oh, I'm in this mode.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, most of the day, I just want to go on walks or I want to go sit by the lake. And sometimes I'll bring my phone there and I'll edit content. I used to have a like full-time content editor, especially when I was scaling my agency. We had more done
Yeah.
for you. So I had an editor at my fingertips and the content wasn't translating. So now I have an editor that does my things that I don't feel like editing, but for the most part, I just do it in Instagram or in CapCut real quick. And that's what I do myself. That's how I spend a lot of my time. All it is, I built out my signature program and now it's like, oh, that'd be a fun piece of content to make. And that's what I love doing because everything else is set up. So for anyone listening who's like, oh, is it the right time to get automations in place? Yes, it is. And to talk to Anna, how do people get in touch with you if they're like, okay, I know this is what I need to do next?
You can just find me on Instagram. It's HeyAnnaRogers. We share a lot of content on scaling your business with ease. Funnels and automations don't have to be complicated. Like I'm one of those people who are like slightly tech averse. Like every time I'm just like, but then it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. There's so many easy ways to do it right now. And as soon as it's one of those things that as soon as you implement, you'll be like, well, why didn't I do this sooner? It just makes everything so much easier. But yeah, I love that what you said about, spending your days out in nature and editing the stuff yourself. Like I love how social media now is kind of making a shift towards more authentic content.
Yes.
And it's more less heavily edited,
Yes.
less of that and more authenticity. And I love that shift that's happening.
Yes. As a social media strategist, I just want to leave you guys with one really important tip is having so much of your heart in your content that like it for me it's like putting my music in it. I'm a harpist, and for the longest time I was like, oh, like I can't include this and this and this, and it's like, no, I am the niche, right? Like my life, my personal brand is a truly personal brand because people are getting to know me. So this year I'm selling social media strategy, but by next year I may be selling conferences to women around the world for queer women to connect, right? So it's
That's
not
incredible.
right. It wouldn't be possible if I was building a business called Only Build a Personal Brand, not Sophia Spallino. So this is possible by us being so in love with what we do and who we are and sharing the parts of our lives that other people are going to find interesting, even if it's so normal to us.
Yeah.
Because people will connect with you. And as a social media strategist, with what's going on with TikTok and just the way that we want to see real content, I think it's so important if you start taking, and you're going to see me doing it, taking the type of content that we would normally post on TikTok and post it on Instagram, even if it doesn't go viral. But you'll be nurturing your clients who are looking at your page and going, how can I get to know her more? How can I build some trust before I drop money on this high ticket offer? You're speaking to that one, and you're not needing to reach everybody. And putting those long form videos on Instagram are going to be the videos that build trust and actually do some selling for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they think personal brand, they think they need to go viral. But what you actually need is to connect with the person behind the screen.
Yes.
And so connect with that champagne client that you have in mind and create content speaking to that one person.
Yes.
And I find that you'll become so much more successful doing this than trying all these different trends just to go viral. Like make sure that you're creating content speaking to that one person, and yeah, you'll be amazed at how that translates into sales for your business.
Yes, it's always about speaking to that one client, and following a trend to go viral is not going to be something that's going to actually equate to sales. So yeah, glad you brought that up. Like when I teach people to go viral as a strategist, it's because we want to actually create a viral video that relates to people.
Yes.
It's and they can help. But then there's so many other types of content you need to actually nurture them into the sales, nurture them into those automations, those email. So if you need help building a personal brand, I'm happy to help you guys. DM me the word PPB or the letters PPB, profitable personal brand, and we can talk about how I can help you do that. And then if you want to work with Anna for your automations and building that freedom business, what is there any keyword specifically, or just pop into your DMs?
So at the moment, if you comment clockwork on any of our reels or any of my posts, you'll actually receive like a short free training where we explain our automation system. And so that gives you, it's a 13-minute video just explaining how automations work, which automations we use in our business, and how you can implement it on yours.
I love it. I love it. Everyone have an amazing day. And Anna, thank you for spending time from your day in paradise with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Thank you. Have a great day and keep telling your story. So many people need to hear it.
Thank you.
$12,000 in a year to millions. That's wild.
Bye.
Bye. Congratulations for listening to another episode of the Social Equity Podcast. Every moment you invest in building your brand is contributing to your social equity. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, or you're just getting started building your brand from scratch, I can't wait to give you the first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 9 years in the industry, amassing over 350,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purposeful, profitable personal brands. So yeah, you should lean in and listen to the social media secrets, sales tips, marketing strategies, and mindset hacks I share. I want to help you build your dream business that makes real money, leveraging the power of a personal brand on social media. Because you're ready to quit wasting time on content that isn't working and start bringing in the money you deserve as a purpose-led coach or service provider, sharing your gifts with the world. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10K to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, the proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. To ask me questions in real time, join me on Instagram Live for the live podcast show. The schedule is always posted on my profile. My handle is @Sophia Spallino. And if you're tired of posting without a reliable strategy and posting without maximal profit, just like many of my clients were before, then you want to join the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Many of you asked how you can get me to coach you on building a profitable personal brand like the one I have. That's why I designed this coaching program, so you could have me coach you, guide you, and mentor you. This is for female coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs who want to be known for purposeful work and build an extremely profitable personal brand on social media without wasting time. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck hitting a plateau in business that once had consistent revenue and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am very selective and this coaching program is not for everyone because I'm only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed soul sisters inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call now. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and get excited to take radical responsibility for building your social equity, your personal brand that no one can take from you, leave a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, with a positive mindset and a profitable personal brand, all things are possible. So go get up and go get what you want.